What I want to show here, the picture that I have on the slide is dated. It doesn't have those recently approved projects, but just to talk about that now, all of the information about the program is available on our website at michiganadvantage.org/MBDPP, and then that would be specific to all of those deals that are approved under the Michigan Business Development Program, both through the delegated approval and the full board approval, that on at least a monthly basis, and so far it's been more frequently than that, we are updating this list to show those deals, the name of the company that has been approved, the expected investment, the projected jobs, the projected incentive value, and the date and location of those projects. So that will always give the list of kind of where we're at least in terms of approved deals, and just so that you can get an understanding of what some of the values have been on the incentives, where have those projects been, and an easy way to get more information about any deal that has been approved. Also on there, we do have other information in our efforts to be transparent about the program and to continue to share as much information as possible. We have obviously the fact sheet for the program is on that website, as well as a sample of the application. It's not an actual fillable application, but it is a sample, so that if you are working with businesses and they have questions about what the application is like, or some information about what that application is, you could show that to them on there. It also has the program process. It's a high-level process, but at least gives a little bit of information about what the flow of the process would be from the time that it was first identified by our call center, by our regional partners or business development team, through the approval and the entering of that grant agreement. And then finally, what's an important thing that we've been asked about a lot is, so how are you making determinations on which projects to incent? One of the final pieces on here is that we do have board-approved guidelines under the program, a lot of which was on that first slide where I was talking high level about what the program was. But this is a few pages that we have that gives details on the types of things that we are looking at, like we were talking about earlier with the jobs and the investment and the impact on the community, that those are the different guidelines that we are looking at in terms of how we're making our determination of what projects need incentives from this program and the level of funding for those projects. And then so that as we've been going through this, we're about 6 months into the program now since it's been signed into law. We've been basically picking up some lessons along the way to where we can try to make the project more beneficial and more effective for our businesses and our communities that we are working with. And one of the big things that we've learned is that we have won many projects with smaller awards on their face than the competition that we have for what we've seen as a couple of reasons. The first is based on the net present value that we're seeing with these incentives that we're paying out over a couple of years, as opposed to many other states that are still doing credits over a 10 to 15 year program. And then also the flexibility that this program offers, where we can tailor those incentives to the specific needs of the company, as opposed to just going through a formula like a lot of other states are doing with a tax credit. And then we have one really good example of this is a company that was just approved yesterday. Was not a project that I worked on, but it was a project that we had competition, very significant competition from South Carolina for the project, and that South Carolina was offering about $10 million of incentives on it when they've just put it in their offer letter. And Michigan's, our business development program incentive was about, I think it was a $1.5 million incentive. And the project manager that was working on that, had a tough sell of how she was going to explain the $1.5 million Michigan offer compared to the South Carolina offer, going beyond all the other assets and everything about Michigan that we felt that made Michigan a better place just to do this project for those types of reasons. But what we found in that was that many parts of the South Carolina offer were being paid out over a 15-year period of time, that they wouldn't be seeing a lot of the money until at least 5 to 10 years down the line, and very little in terms of actual near-term fundings, where our program, they were receiving only $1.5 million of it, but they were getting all of it over a 3-year period and most of it in the first 2 years. And so we ended up winning that project as a project that we look at a lot in terms of how we can explain these types of incentives to the companies and get these projects with the much more limited funding that we have compared to what we had in the past. I talked a lot throughout the presentation about us working with our local partners and the regionalism that we were trying to accomplish at the MEDC. And what we've been finding, obviously, is that the more we work with the local partners, the more that we're all engaged and on the same page right from the start in terms of what the community is looking at doing, why this is a priority for the project, and what for the community, and why the state incentives are needed. That open communication really makes everything work much more quickly, makes it a much more effective incentive offer, and it makes the companies really see that we are one, really working as one team, whether it's the local partner or the MEDC. It's all one group going after the same goal of ensuring that project happens in Michigan. One other issue that's come up has been that on some projects there's been questions about the taxable nature of the grants that we're giving out under this incentive program. And what we've been finding is that with this, because you're offering it more upfront, there is a potential tax liability for companies, and so it's something that we are aware of. It's something that we're working with in terms of how we can work with companies if there is a way to structure them where you can manage that tax liability for them. But then the other important thing is that what Michigan has for these incentives is no different in terms of if there's any tax issue with it than what another state would be offering. So this is an IRS thing. It's if somebody is telling you that Michigan's is taxable, most likely whatever the other state would be offering would have that same taxable nature that a Michigan offer would as well. And then the final thing really is that we want to make sure we've learned a lot of lessons over these first 6 months, but we think throughout this whole this whole new program, it's going to take time to make sure that we are making this as effective of a program as possible. So it's been very important for us to continue to receive feedback from our local partners, from the communities, from the businesses, anyone that we've been working with. So if there's any feedback that you have, you'll have my contact information on the paper there, and you can contact your own project manager that's in your region or anyone at the MEDC to let us know if you're finding things that can be improvements that we can make, because we know that this is a new program. It's a program that we really want to make to be a great program that can really work well for the companies in the state. So your feedback and anyone else's feedback that you receive that you want to pass along to us, we really appreciate, and we're just looking forward to working with all of you to make sure that we can win all of these projects in Michigan.